Today I'm going to show you how to replace the battery in a 2013-2014 MacBook Air. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter von Panda here. Hey, I've got my 2013-2014 MacBook Air in front of me. Now, one of the things that you might know is that 2013, 2014, 2015 MacBook Airs all look the same, but they had slightly different batteries moving from early 2014 into 2015. So the 2013 and early 2014 model have the same battery, and this is an early 2014 model. Now, what ends up happening, as is expected, is that battery wears down over time, and a 2014 model like this one, now in 2021, is a 7-year-old battery, so we would expect it to degrade. Now, this battery actually, by the numbers, isn't that bad. Cycle count 112, full charge capacity 5,500 milliamp hours. That's actually not as bad as it could be, or as honestly as I'd expect. But plugged in, it works fine, and it has been, as you can tell by the cycle count here, mostly a desktop replacement. So what I want to do here is actually replace the battery and see if we can get that full charge capacity up or restored back to its original state. This is by RayHom. It's a laptop battery kit. One of the things that I was keen on getting with this are the tools to open this up, because of those little screws on the back are not necessarily the types of screws that I could remove with the tools I have. So what we have are the two tools that we need, as well as the battery here. This is actually quite a bit cheaper than doing it through the Apple Store. I think this battery and the tools were only like $24 or something like that. So a pretty cheap and hopefully pretty easy upgrade to do on the MacBook Air. Right, MacBook here, the replacement battery right here. I'm just going to flip this over, and what you can see here is we have these Torx screws. They actually might be the crazy pentalobe screws that Apple uses. You can see there, but I think they are T5 screws. So what we can do here is just grab one of the tools here. All right, this one seems to work. Keep your screws sorted. What you can see here is that we have 10 screws in total. I'm taking out the 2 screws nearest the hinge, and I think they must go through the hinge or something, because if I pull them out, you can see they're quite a bit longer than the other ones. So these short little ones are around the edge, but the 2 long ones go right up here. Okay, got all the screws out. I'm not sure if there's any trick. I think grabbing it back by the hinge here is the easiest way to pull this off. Very light little case. Now you can see we're in on the guts on this thing. Now what you have to do here is the battery connector is right here, and you can see there's this little plastic flap that is meant to be pulled. So you want to pull it straight out of the connector there. And then there's a little hole right there where there is a little detent. So for me, it just helped to take this and put it right in there to push that detent down, and then the connector will slide out. Now that I've got the connector out, we're going to take out 5 screws holding the battery in. There are 3 up here at the top, one at the top corner here, middle, and up here, and then there are 2 down here. Now, the ones up at the top are longer, so you're going to want to keep those separated as you take them out. Now, this is where the second screwdriver comes in. I think you're going to use this green one to get the battery screws out. And here's what I mean by the long screws versus the short screws. So these little short ones hold the bottom of the battery in, and these longer ones are up at the top of the battery. So size does matter. Okay, now that we've got all the screws removed, I'm just going to start lifting up the battery. Should just lift out. No adhesive holding it in there. So we're going to put that to the side. I'm going to take the new battery, and one of the things that you'll notice is that it looks exactly the same, but it does have this plastic protective covering over it. So you're going to want to carefully remove that first. Just going to lay it back in. I think kind of putting it down a little shallow and sliding this connector in first may be the right way to go about it here. Try not to touch anything that you don't have to. That should sit flush. You can see the edges are butting up against each other, and that little detent is in that little slot right there. So that shows that it's in the right spot. Then we're going to take your long battery screws and put back the screws into the top holes here. Just want to make sure your battery is lined up with those holes. Short screws go on the bottom. I will say that the tools that they send here are magnetic, which is super nice, so you can place the screw on the screwdriver. So that's a nice little convenience too. And case back on here. Looks like those holes line up pretty good. And blue screwdriver, I'm going to put the long screws, which go right along the hinge here, in first. Then we'll replace the other 9 screws. Okay, new battery in. I'm assuming it has a little bit of a charge, and it certainly looks like it is doing that because it is booting up. Now, I have not charged up this battery, so I do not expect it to be fully charged. But once it's up, then we can take a look and see what capacity the laptop thinks the battery has. Okay, so I've got it powered up here. Just went ahead and plugged it in too. But the good news is full charge capacity, 7,000 milliamp hours. So we have dramatically increased it. Looks like the battery was charged to 70%. 2 cycle counts, which is pretty awesome here. So definitely works. Definitely a do-it-yourself at-home job. If you have a 2013 or early 2014 MacBook Air, this is how you do it. I'll put a link to the battery with the tools in the description below. Peter from Panda, out.